last years of the 19th century, that human affairs were being watched from the timeless worlds of space. No one could have dreamed we were being scrutinized as someone with a microscope studies creatures that swarm and multiply in a drop of water. Few men even considered the possibility of life on other planets. And yet, across the gulf of space, minds immeasurably superior to ours regarded this Earth with envious eyes. And slowly and surely, they drew their plans against us.
Broadcasting live
from a tiny studio somewhere in North America.
This is Dark Matters Radio Live. And now I give you your host,
the Silverback of ufology.
Here's Don Ecker.
And welcome back to Dark Matters Radio, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure that you're joining us. As always, DMR is brought to you exclusively by KGRA Radio, your contact point to the paranormal. And as is usually the case on Saturday evenings, it is our open line show. And I am joined by my two buddies and both co-hosts, Mr. Mark Center and Mr. Richard Saraday. Gentlemen, welcome, and this is our first open line show of the new year.
Absolutely. It seems to have been, like 3 weeks or something?
Well, it's been a while. Last evening, of course, was my first show of the year, and I interviewed my co-host, Mr. Rich Saraday. Richard, are you still with us, or did you drop off the world there, buddy?
I don't know. Tell me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You hear me?
Yes.
Ground control to Major Tom.
Yeah, he's got some new toys he's playing with there, Mark.
Oh, yeah. I got these. I thought I lost my earphones that plugs into my Apple, 6S. And has a microphone on it, and I'm doing the show through my phone now because it comes out just as clear as with the big headphones and the big microphone. That's how good stuff is gotten.
Ooh, an Apple user! Wow.
Yeah, the whole family's on Apple,
and he's got an Apple wristwatch that he can talk to, just like Dick Tracy. I mean.
Yeah. And now, of course, Apple leads the way, and everybody else is making them for their phones, and but it's really good. I really love it. Coordinates everything, and I can answer the phone, even if I'm not around my phone, because I'm also hooked up to cellular through the Apple Watch. So, I'm in the bathroom. It's
dog, dude.
Yeah, they're fun toys, and it keeps you occupied. And I need things to keep me occupied these days. But the AirPods, anyway, I haven't quite figured out how my phone's interacting with them. It's not Apple. It's a brand I got online, and they work fine, except my phone seems to throw up a screen that doesn't let me convert it over, as Don and I just found out again, as simply as I can. I got to go figure out how to do that. So I'm plugged in as we speak, but I think clear 5x5, right, gentlemen?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty good. Mark and I are still pretty much analog, right, buddy?
Absolutely.
Well, analog is great. I think analog is terrific.
Well,
especially for music.
This weekend, it has been pretty chilly where I reside, and for the last 2 weeks, I've been Dr. Don, MD, because of Vicky's oops last week. She's still very much under the weather, and she's been, as a matter of fact, just before the show, she came wandering into the studio and she said, "Look at my hand. Does that look weird to you?" And I said, "Honey, that's the arm that you had the oops with." "I know, but it looks weird." I looked at it and, didn't look that bad. And I said, "Well, remember, sweetheart, you've had some trauma to that arm.
Well,
So it's going to take a
she
while.
took
I
the-
don't want it to take a while. I want it better now. And I said, yeah, I know, but that's not how it works, kid.
Yeah, that's how I felt the last 3 years. I'm still waiting.
Yeah,
But
I
obviously, when she fell, whenever she tripped, she took the impact of the fall with her extending her arm. And that arm, we probably had a stiff elbow. She tried to break her fall, and that drove up the shoulder and dislocated it.
Yeah,
So yeah, she probably had some pain in her hand.
I never want to see the look on her face again that I saw
I bet.
when I got home, boy. She was genuinely in agony, and
That is, yeah,
wow.
that is very painful. I've seen guys dislocate them on the football field.
So I've
when I used
been
to play.
chief cook, chief bottle washer, chauffeur, ad hoc medic, sling fixer for her arm. I mean, and the fun thing, tomorrow I get to give her a bath. So there you go.
Oh, that's what it means to be a caregiver. And,
Yes.
and I've put my family through all of those stages over the last 3 years. It's been very humbling and very gratifying to see how people step up and take care of you, and you feel so embarrassed and helpless,
And in case she listens to this show, Don didn't complain or bitch one time. Not one.
He would not. No. He
No,
would not.
absolutely not.
So anyway, now last night, and I had something that I wanted to mention, and the time got away from us, and I was whining to Rich. I said, "Damn it, Rich, I wanted to talk about that."
Oh,
And
yeah.
he said, "Well, you can do it tomorrow." And I said, "No, I can't tomorrow." And then it struck me, no, that wasn't Saturday, it was Friday. And I said, "Oh yeah." Well,
Yeah.
tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, I am being interviewed by a writer in London, the UK, on a paper I wrote, golly, it's been 14 or 15 years ago, on a case I investigated, not having a thing to do with UFOs. But, I guess, almost everybody that's listened to me for any length of time knows the story about back in 1981, 82, when I investigated those two cattle mutilations, right? I mean, I've told that story quite a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that always bothered me about those two animals that had been killed, exsanguinated, and basically mutilated was the fact that they were drained of blood. Okay, drained of blood. Now that's a well-known fact going back literally decades of genuine cattle mutilations. Well, without getting into a lot of, ins and outs, a couple of years after that, I had traveled back to the East Coast to visit family. I forget now what it was. It might have been, I'm trying to remember if it was one of my high school reunions. And if it was the last one I ever went to. But when I got back there, my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, was a corpsman and he was the equivalent of a PA, a physician's assistant in the Navy, and he was attached to the Marine Corps. So he was basically a Marine Corps corpsman. And anyway, one night we were all sitting in my parents', maybe it was when my dad passed away, because my dad passed away in 86. So that would have been close to the right time frame. Well, at any rate, we're in there chatting about stuff. And somewhere along the line, I mentioned the case that I was involved in with these cattle. And we're talking about it, and I told him, I said it was weird and, man, really a strange thing. And my brother-in-law, and my sister also, were both kind of into weird things, kind of like I was. And he said, did you ever hear about the Highgate vampire case? And I said, huh? The what? Highgate. No. Well, Highgate is a very famous cemetery in London. And as the story really started about 1969, 1970. So at that time, this would have been like maybe close to 15, 16 years in the past. Supposedly a paranormal investigator, this was the brief overview I got, was wandering around in Highgate Cemetery because of allegedly a weird case that happened with a young woman very close to there. And he entered one of the vaults in the cemetery. Now, back in the day, in the 19th century, this was the place to get buried in if you were anybody. I mean, hell, Karl Marx is buried in there. And a lot of British elites and aristocracy were buried in there. Okay. Now, if you're into that kind of thing, well, hey, I'm going to be buried in Highgate Cemetery. Ooh, wow. So anyway, he entered this crypt, and allegedly there was an extra coffin in there with a corpse dressed in 19th century garb that had never decomposed. And it was believed by this paranormal investigator that it was a vampire, a real, honest-to-God, blood-sucking vampire. Now, the whole thing I found somewhat intriguing, but remember, back in the mid-'80s, there was no internet that you could access like we can today. And there was really no way for me to do any further investigation on it. And like I said, I was intrigued. So years later, in the latter 90s, I remembered that, and I started doing a little research. And I have some friends that are very well-known paranormal investigators in the UK. So I called one of them, John Spencer. And John and I talked, and I told him what I was following up on, that I was interested in this. And make a long story short, he said, well, yeah, I'll do a little checking around. Now, there were two primary names involved with this Highgate vampire case. And make no mistake, there were a lot of people over in the UK that was following one of these guys, a guy by the name of Sean Manchester. And Manchester had been this paranormal investigator that allegedly found this so-called vampire, okay? So when I found that out, one of the things I wanted John to do was to put me in connection with these people because I wanted to interview them. Well, he tracked them down. They got back to him and said, we have no interest in discussing this case with an American researcher. Now, I got to tell you, I was kind of surprised because by that time I had been doing my radio show for years. I was part of UFO Magazine. The magazine went all over the UK. And actually, to get right around to it, it traveled around the world. And my name was not unknown. So to make a long story short, my cop sense, I got to tell you, my cop sense said, that don't smell right, if you know what I mean. Okay, it just don't smell right. If these people were really onto something, you would think they would want all the professional help they could get, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they really think they're onto something, they want good scientific and professional people involved to nail it down.
Exactly. So now we're in the first half of the brand new decade in the 21st century. Now, I had been working on my novel for a couple of years, and it was almost ready to come out, my novel Past Sins, which, incidentally, in full disclosure, is a supernatural horror novel involving vampires. And so I was really into that. Now, there's a hell of a lot more to this story. But anyway, one weekend, I was up on Amazon, and I was in a forum, I believe it was a supernatural or a horror forum, and I was gently pushing my book. And I asked everybody if they had ever heard of something called the Highgate Vampire Case. Well, immediately, a number of them said, "Oh, yeah, I know all about that. It's a bucket of manure. Oh, come on. That guy, that Sean Manchester guy, is a real nutcase, blah, blah, blah." And, oh, okay. Well, the two guys that were primarily involved, this Manchester and another guy by the name of David Ferrant, who was his arch enemy, all right, and Ferrant had actually his own baggage that he was carrying. These guys, by that time, had an almost 3-decade feud that had spilled out all over the web, worldwide. I mean, it was famous for David Ferrant and Sean Manchester. And so I foolishly tried to track Ferrant down. And by the internet, I was able to locate both these guys that had done radio shows. Now, part of the story of the Highgate Vampire dealt with this young woman, very attractive, back in the late 60s, early 70s. I finally discovered her name, Jackie Cooper. I had been trying to track down because Manchester had written a book on the Highgate Vampire Case, and it read almost like Bram Stoker. I mean, this guy was so full of shit, his eyes were brown. Okay. And I had read this book, and by the time I finished the book, I thought I had a pretty good handle on what was going on. Back in the day, these guys were both running their supernatural thing, and I got no doubt in my military mind at all, they were on the hunt for chicks. Lots and lots and lots of chicks. And they were using this, this supernatural thing. As a matter of fact, I tracked down photographs. I tracked down photographs of David Ferrant, okay, and he had a French girl over from France, okay, doing a black magic ceremony. And she was as naked as the day was long in these pictures. And, hey, I'm a guy that likes girls. So I knew what was going on. So anyway, I finally tracked down David Ferrant, and I interviewed him. As a matter of fact, a number of times. And I tried desperately to get a hold of Manchester. And on one of the interviews that I had heard that Ferrant was on, he identified this girl, Jackie Cooper, who had been named with a pseudonym in Manchester's book called Louisa. Okay, he wouldn't identify who she was. And allegedly, according to his book, Louisa had been attacked by this vampire, had died, and then came back as a vampire. And this guy was swearing up and down, this is real, this is real, this is real. Well, as I discovered, this guy is also a psychopath. Okay? He really is. He would hunt down on the web, and it didn't matter where you were. Okay? If you were critical of this bogus BS story, he would start to harass you. And I mean, kind of like our old buddy Cal Korff would go so far as to contact your employers and all kinds of nasty stuff. Well, I got to tell you, that kind of irked me. And then when I mentioned this girl's name, Jackie Cooper, online, suddenly I open up my alternative email box one day, and I have about 15 emails in there from a group called the FOBM Society. FOBM, what the hell's that? It's the Friends of Bishop Manchester. Sean Manchester, this whack job. So I start reading through there, and I am being threatened. We're going to go to you named this poor woman, blah, blah. She's not Louisa, blah, blah, blah. And, threatening me. All right. Well, the way to get to me is not to threaten me, because I get a little upset when somebody threatens me. So to make a long story short, I ended up writing this extensive paper on this whole sorry bullshit mess. And then I had it published. Well, this Manchester whack job started going to every website I had it on, threatening to sue the webmasters if they didn't take this thing down, and blah, 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 blah. Well, that was, like I said, that was 15, 16 years ago. So a couple of weeks ago, somebody comes up to the Dark Matters Radio Forum on Facebook, the fan page, and said, I'd like to get in touch with Don Ecker. My name is this, and I am a freelance writer. I've written for the newspaper, The Guardian. I've written for this magazine, that magazine, and I'm doing an extensive, long article on this Highgate vampire case. And Mr. Ecker, I read your paper, and I'm very anxious to contact you. So, this was just about the time, right before the holidays. I was just getting over the flu and all of that business. The holidays came, and of course, everything went fallow during the holidays. And so a few days ago, I wrote him back, and I said, well, I'm available. If you're on Skype, let me know what your username is, and blah, blah, blah. And the bottom line is that he got back to me, and he's interviewing me tomorrow. So it should be very interesting to see how this all turns out.
Nice. Very good. That you've been after that for a long time.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, Mark, the last few years, that's been probably real near the bottom of my to-do list, you know.
Sure.
But it was funny how it popped back up. Oh, Ma just sent me a note. 3 minutes. Now you know what he means, right?
3 minutes and counting.
Yes, three. It's 2 minutes.
Hey,
now.
I'll tell the folks about something they may have missed at the end of 2019, and it's going to start on the 12th of this month. Exhibition Bigfoot on the Travel Channel. They said that they will prove it if it exists or not in this show. So
hey, Mark.
Yes.
I swear to God, My check is in the mail. Honest to God. My check is in the mail, buddy.
Yes. Well, I hope that they're successful and they don't put it in a freezer and then travel around the country charging folks to take a look at it. So that's what
I don't know. It's not a good way to see the country, and pay for itself.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Dr. Hook's traveling medicine show.
Yeah. I gotta get me some gimmick like that. I gotta make a mermaid.
Of course,
half mermaid, half coyote or something, from Topanga by the ocean.
I don't think Dr. Hook used his medicinally, Don.
Yeah, you don't think?
I don't think so.
Anyway, guys, is it conceivable there might have once upon a time really been a vampire? And hey, you got 30 seconds.
Sure, absolutely. It's like I always say.
I don't think in the sense that we look at it all. I just I haven't seen anything. I've seen cannibals and things like this, but the idea of this living on human blood to renew itself and all that. No, I don't think it ever existed. I think,
but there are bats that do it. Please do. Yeah. Well, unless it's a sentient bat, they can get up on all fours and pass for a human being. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. We're at the break time. I vowed that in the new year I'm going to try to hit the brakes on time.
New Year's resolutions. Here we go.
Yes, sir. My New Year's resolution. This is Dark Matters Radio. Tonight is our open lines. We will be opening the phones before too long. And joining me, as always, Richie and Mark. And hey, we'll be back after this break.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com. Or to speak with a trained consultant. Give Angioprim a call at 954-882-7221. That's 954-882-7221.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult and trying personal problems every day on my TV show, but there's one problem that's just got me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. That's 1 in 5 kids who may not know where their next meal is coming from, despite the fact that there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food out there to feed them all. Now, I don't know about you, but that is unacceptable to me. Luckily, the Feeding America network of good people is out there collecting surplus food and giving hope to hungry children and their families at local food banks all across the country. But let's face it, they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. you'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
And we're back with Mark Center, Richard Saraday, and yours truly. Guys, what have you been, Rich, let me start with you, buddy. What has been happening since we were last on? You obviously made it through the trauma of the holidays. And
yes, it was actually, we had a great holiday. It was a really, really nice season. Our tree is still up. We didn't even get it decorated till Christmas Eve. And, we had my wife's sister staying with us for a period, then and around New Year's. So, we haven't even taken down the tree yet.
Wow.
And that will happen probably tomorrow.
I told Vic, of course, this was before Vicky got hurt, but I told her, I said, you know what, hon? I'm ready to take the damn tree down now. And that was like the 30th. Yeah. And we always let it up until at least, Epiphany on the 6th. Yeah. Right. But we got it down early.
Well, everything was late this year, for us, and getting the tree and getting it up and getting decorated. We go to a lot of trouble. We do Gloria likes a very traditional Christmas, and we usually have a well-decorated, dining room, living room area. And it's a big deal. There's a lot of stuff, so it's an operation. It'll
right.
take us a day.
How about you, Mark?
I used to do it up big, and we'd throw a party once every 2 years, dance floor, band, just the whole thing. And I kind of burnt out on it. So, a few lights, some stuff on the inside. In fact, I just put it back up in the attic today. So it's been taken down a while, but I finally, the wife's in the Philippines for a month, so I can sit around and do nothing for a month. So I finally got to today. So yes, I've done, huge things in the front yard and opened up my home and had crazy parties with like 75 people, but I haven't done that in a few years.
Wow. Yeah.
And Don came to one of my parties once.
Yes, I did. And Vicky and I ended up staying the whole night. We kicked Mark and his wife out of bed.
Yeah.
We went to bed. And he makes a killer Long Island iced tea.
Yes. In fact, we went to the Sam's Club Christmas party, and I made a big jug of that up and brought Dixie cups because that's the only proper thing to do with that stuff. And I try to make it look like dirty water as best I can. A lot of the people when I walked in, where's the dirty water? And let's just say within the first hour that we were there, things got pretty loose pretty quick.
Yeah, a little lubrication.
Yes.
It always helps. A little lubrication. Boy. Speaking
put orange juice in my orange juice.
I'll never forget the first time, or one of the first times I remember, and I got to tell you, the memory is very hazy. Back in the early days when Rich and I were, we were doing a lot of media stuff right around Christmas time, where I was living at the time, Vicky and I were living. There was this little neighborhood restaurant and bar, and it was right at Christmas time. And we had gone, Rich and I had gone Christmas shopping. And because, for our wives, right?
Oh, God.
And we were coming back, and I don't know if it was me or Rich said, you want to stop and have a drink? And I said, oh, sure.
We were done shopping, man, and that, what a hassle that is.
He started ordering vodka martinis.
Shaken, not stirred.
Just wave the vermouth above the rim.
Right.
Oh, they poured us out of there.
Yeah. Interesting that my memory of that is vague, just little bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
Of us going to that bar.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Oh, God. Sterling's.
Sterling, yes. That's where the fun was had.
Yes, that was where. And I didn't even get screamed at when we came home. So
yeah, and I drove us there okay.
Yeah, oh my God, Rich. Oh my God. I hope I poured a pot of coffee in you that night.
Yeah, I don't know, but I was fine, obviously. Not something I would do today,
No.
But
my God, no.
No, not at all. But back
kids,
then,
I don't recommend you try this at home.
Yeah. But back when I was doing more of that on a more regular basis, you kind of you adjust. Everybody does. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. But now that there's a legal limit and for a lot of reasons, you get more conservative when you get older because you realize the cost of things ain't worth the cost of things.
Boy, isn't that the truth? Well, what do you think? Should I go ahead and throw the lines open, guys?
Yes, yeah. Open the drawbridge, Release the Kraken.
What do you say, Mark?
Absolutely.
Well, buddy, why don't you do the honors?
Friends, family, and fans of the Silverback of radio, please give us a call and tell us what's on your mind and how your holiday was and what you're thinking about doing in 2020. The phone number is 855-472-5483, or for those people with a mind like mine, 85-KGRA Live, brought to you by the Paranormal Radio app.
Boy, he does that good, doesn't he, Rich?
I tell you, man, you can make a living at it.
Absolutely. So I've been dying to talk about it. And of course, you guys know that I saw 1917 last night. And I actually don't go to the movies at night much, but I just didn't want to be home. The wife's gone and all that. And I said, I think I'll go tonight. It was almost sold out, at a 300-seater. And they shot it they say in one take. It's not exactly in one take, but it's so well done. And so many scenes are in one take. I mean, 20-minute scenes. It gives you the weirdest feeling because no shaky cam, and the camera moves around the characters as they get. It's all shot outdoors with no fake lighting. The cameras behind them, off to the side, in front of them. They may have to go through a big hole in the ground with a bunch of water, and somehow the guy takes his camera and then he puts it on a cable, and then the cable goes across the giant hole full of water, and then he grabs it and then he goes onto a motorcycle to keep up. It's crazy because all this stuff is happening around you with explosions, and it's very tense, and yet the camera never really changes its behavior. It stops from time to time, but with no shaky cam, you're lulled into a fluid kind of watching experience while all hell breaks loose. And I got to tell you, no cell phones were sparked up. Nobody was talking. It was an incredible movie-going experience.
Yeah, it sounds mesmerizing. I can hardly wait to see it.
And I would say if you want to spend the extra money, I'm going to go see it a second time to take a closer look at it. Second time, I'm going to go on the IMAX. So,
yeah.
It's just, and they do some stuff in the movie that's unexpected. There's some fairly big names in it that come and go, like boom, boom, done. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's hard to put in words when Rich sees it with his vast knowledge and education. I'm sure he can use some $3 words, but I was
give me a break.
I was just astounded.
Yeah, it sounds like I love to see him advance the art, and that's a good example. It's not CGI; it's real live action, and what they achieved is amazing. And I've done a lot of work as a first assistant cameraman on a couple of low budget films and a lot of commercials. From every position, shooting out the side of a van, out of a helicopter, hiking up to the top of a mountain and waiting for dawn for the sunrise shots, all that stuff. And you know what it takes, and you know what it takes to get a smooth shot. When Steadicams came out, that was a huge leap forward. Simultaneously with Steadicam came the shaky cam trend, which makes things seem much more intense by keeping the camera a little tightly focused in and have a little shake to it. It got overdone for a while, but sure. All these new techniques to get.
For what it's worth, Rich, those shaky cam things always left me totally cold.
I know, man. It drives you crazy after a while. Now, I'll bet you for this film, for 19, let me say the last thing, because I'll see if you agree with me.
Yeah.
The last film that used that kind of, large-scale live action in the desert look with magnificent, smooth camera work, to my mind, was Lawrence of Arabia, Robert Wise film. The amazing shots when they were in the desert, with the horses. Those big, wide, fluid shots. The effect I've seen in the previews for that movie is that it just looks like it just the trailer is like, whoa, you got to see it. Everybody wants to see it from the trailer. Because he's running across that field and the camera goes in front of him and you see all the people getting blown up and running across the screen behind him. Him threading his way through there and then through the puddles and everything else. It just sucks you in so hard.
Yeah, it's you almost get into for me, I was in a meditative state almost, because the camera doesn't respond to what's happening in the movie because we're so used to shaky cam. And some shaky cam can be good, like the foot chase in what's the movie with Keanu Reeves when they rob the banks?
The Presidents.
And then they made a remake of it, Point Break.
Point Break. Yeah.
I thought that the foot scene in that was great, but would you want to see a whole movie of that? No, but it worked for that one scene. So I think it has a lot to do with, I watch a lot of films and I hate shaky cam done to the extreme, and this was so different. It was like, wow, it's like I'm seeing the movie process without recognizing it necessarily, and I was just kind of entranced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so it's a new tool in the toolbox. It's all it's how the director and the cinematographer use it, and the editor. It's all that. It's like there's no technique that's bad. Like shaky cam has its place. But, the cheap imitators take something like that and use it as a device rather than as the way to tell the story. It's a device to kind of make this film seem more than it is. And they have no confidence in that.
Right. Also, since The Rock, which was a fun film, but The Rock at that point, the Michael Bay one, had the most edits of any film before that, because he came from commercials and music videos. So I'm not going to say I didn't like the movie, but we've gotten to the point where Taken Part 3, there's some guys up on the YouTubes have shown a scene in there where the lead actor is going to jump over a fence in a backyard, and it's a 1.5 second scene, and there's like 7 cuts in the scene to show him jump this fence. And that's a perfect example, again, why when they film it like this so well, that you have no choice but to sit back in your seat and just let the movie happen, because you're not consistently jumping around. Now, some people, maybe some of the younger folk, have, you know, complained that, well, it's slow and it drags. Well, that's
I don't think that would be the reaction, because it's not slow and it doesn't drag. It's just that you're seeing a lot of action on the screen while it's running. I mean, that when he's moving, there's, you know, it's always something happening in the background. You know,
I have to say I know where they're coming from, because they've grown up with Transformer films and stuff like that are nonstop cut. And this movie is a little like the Lord of the Rings. There's a lot of walking. There's a lot of talking, right? But I don't know. It's because I love film. Guess.
That's the beauty of art. Like, not everybody loves Picasso. You know, we don't have to. You know, it's whatever you respond to. You know.
Well, I'll just say that almost all of the 300 seats were sold out. So
yeah. Well, they definitely got a winner.
That says a lot. Yes, it does. And
but you know, I read something. I haven't seen Art of Star yet, and somewhere somebody talking about on the internet on one of the UFO sites, something like that. And, you know, some guys making comments like, "Worst thing ever! Oh, it was terrible. I hated it." And I go, "Geez, what's so terrible about it that you could react like that? There weren't enough space aliens in it or something? I mean, what?"
Yeah, I talk with Don about that a lot, and I think it comes down to even like the superhero films and stuff. I'm just not invested. If it's a good movie, it's a good movie. Or if there's pieces that, like I saw Underwater this weekend as well, right? And it's a monster movie, happens underwater, with Christian Stewart from the Sparkly Vampire films. And a lot of people would say it's too derivative and this and that. Well, yeah, I see that, but you know what? It started off with a bang. It kept my interest through the whole thing. The creatures were something a little different, and I had a fun time. It's like, look, I'm not going to go home and get mad and kick my dog about a movie. There's good stuff in it. It was all right.
Yeah, well, I know. It's that juvenile kind of like, you know, I'm sniff at something and look down at it. It's, you know, it's just terrible. Oh, it's just awful. It's like,
now, Mark, when you were watching, when you were watching 1917, did you immerse yourself so deeply into it that you felt you were there?
No. The only way I can do that is if I'm in the theater with very few people, because even though they were very good in the movies, there's always a little crunching and munching and moving around. And one guy must have had a bladder problem. He's going up and down, or maybe he's doing cocaine. I don't know. But he's going up and down and up and down. And I need to be in a theater with 10 people in it, which is what I like.
You need to be in the man cave, buddy. That's where you need to be.
Yeah, but my man cave doesn't have that big giant screen, right? So
yeah, well,
mine
only has like a 43.
The first show in the morning, and that seems to work best for me.
Well, the reason I ask was because going back 20 odd years ago, when Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan came out, okay, Vic and I and somebody else went to the movies to see that. And I got to tell you what, having, you know, been in, you know, situations similar to some of that when I was in Vietnam, that movie hit me like a Mack truck. And I'll never forget, when it was over and we walked out of there, I was like in another dimension. Okay. That's how that affected me. Was it realistic? Well, yeah. From what I saw, it sure was. Of course, I was not in World War II, but I was was in one, years later, but that movie just hit me. Now, then I started thinking about some of the other movies that I had seen over the years. All right, war movies. Platoon, Oliver Stone's Platoon.
Oh, yeah. Boy, that was powerful.
And Dylan McDermott in Hamburger Hill, okay, was another one. Then a very little known movie that probably most people have never heard of called The Siege of Firebase Gloria.
Mm-hmm.
And what made that memorable for me to begin with was that Wings Hauser was in it, somebody that you don't see a lot of, and the Sarge was in that, Arlie Ermy.
Yeah.
And, Ermy was a guy, the real deal. He was around the block. And when he was in something like that, you just knew he, as a part of it, wouldn't tolerate any crap. And that movie, I have a copy of that movie, and I still watch that occasionally. And but those were movies I found very believable, accurate, and pretty much very honestly made. Now you've seen all of those, haven't you, Mark?
Yeah, the last war movie I watched that you, if you would have lived closer, you would have come over and grabbed me by the scruff of the neck, was Steel Helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
now,
that was quite something.
Are you familiar with that movie, Rich? Steel Helmet?
No, not Steel Helmet. I don't think. I might have seen it. What's the story?
Well, it was made in 1951, right after the start of the Korean War. The Korean War began.
I think I did see that. Yes.
In June of 50, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an extraordinarily realistic, accurate movie about what those guys were going through. And the guys that were involved. A lot of them were retreads from the Second World War. Remember, the Second World War had only ended 5 years before.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, my old man, my father, got out in 48, and when the Korean War happened, he was called back into service a month before I was born. And let me say that my mother wasn't very happy about that.
I'm sure she wasn't.
Mom was not happy about that. But yeah, and that was they call it the Forgotten War, and in many regards it is. Although maybe not so much in recent years with all the crap and the turmoil coming out of North Korea now. But yeah.
Yeah, I found that movie. I watched it here at home, of course, and a lot of it is in the snow, and I had to put a sweater on.
Well, you're talking about cold. I mean, the stories coming out of Korea.
Cold just watching it.
Yeah, the combat infantry got stuck up there and surrounded, and a lot of them just froze to death. I saw a documentary about two that made it out, and how they made it out. And the only two survivors of a whole company that got trapped by them.
In 1917, the new movie, they show a lot of that muddy and cold, and they got to go through the ponds with the dead bodies, and it's just, geez, it's miserable, just miserable.
Yeah, it ain't war grand.
Yes, it is.
Well, I tell you, it sure is good for Wall Street. It sure is good for big corporations, though.
And it's not good for getting our phone number out. So let me just say this. We've got to go to break in a couple of minutes for our top of the hour break, but the phone lines are open. If you would like to join in with some thoughts of your own or something that's been nagging at you want to talk about, give us a call. when we get back from the break at 855-472-5483. That's 855-472-5483. And an easy way to remember it is 85 KGRA Live. And of course, we are blessed and very grateful to the Paranormal Radio app hotline for making that available. So, what do you think about that?
It's great.
I
So
think
I know
Mark still
Don
did a
saw
better.
it.
Mark did a better job than I.
That's okay. I know Don saw the Star Wars, and I did. I'm not a big fan of Star Wars. I could care less, but I got to tell you, I did see the one before, and I just really.
You know what? Ma just told me that you started the outro music. We got to go to break, so we're going to go to break. Hold that thought.
All right.
We'll be back.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's GetTheT.com.
You can tug all day long on a carpet that's been glued to the floor. Then you hurt. There are many strong glues out there. Let's see, there's liquid nails and Gorilla Glue. You ever try to remove 3M 5200? That adhesive is strong. Then there's bathroom caulk, silicone rubber, adhesive tape, super glue, flex tape, and stickers. Graffiti. Scientists have come up with glues that stay stuck and can't be removed. Until now. Until Handyman Formula by DeBond. That's right. 95% of adhesives become unstuck when you spray Handyman Formula directly on them. Just spray, wait a few minutes, and remove. It's amazing. Most adhesives become unstuck when you use Handyman Formula. Visit DeBondCorporation.com or MCMaster.com. Call 561-575-4200. This stuff really works. Handyman Formula by DeBond, a great Christmas gift.
Hey, is that a new music app?
Yeah, check it out. Surfer Music Discovery. It links to thousands of online stations, but the twist is you see the song names and artists that are now playing live.
That's different. No guessing. Looks like a waterfall of music.
So many formats. Rock, oldies, country, R&B, jazz, and a whole lot more.
How's that spelled?
Surfer. S-U-R-F-R.
Is it expensive?
It's free. No need to sign up or sign in.
Get the Surfer Music app free from Google Play or the App Store.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Mainstream media's most wanted. KGRARadio.com.
And we are back for hour number 2 of our open line show right here on Dark Matters Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd love to hear from you. 855-472-5483. And the lines are open. Give us a call. Last night, I interviewed Rich. And Rich and I opened up the lines down near, 25 after the second hour, around there. And we got a bunch of calls, and but I noticed something. I tried to add a couple of callers to the queue when we were, bring them on to talk also with us. So we had, at one point, we were setting up to have two of our callers on at the same time. And the phone system had a hiccup, so we could only do one at a time. So just keep that in mind, and for whatever it's worth.
So back to that thing when you said, did I get into the movie with that one? Here's one I did, and I think Rich will really appreciate this. I went to go see this thing, first show of the day, so there's like 3 people in there. I'm all the way at the top. It's nice and quiet. This is the new movie by Adam Sandler called Uncut Gems, which is on Netflix, but they also released it to the theaters. And he plays a New York City jeweler who's kind of a bit of a scumbag, and he likes to play around with other people's money and stuff. And it all takes place there in New York. And halfway through the movie, I had to get up and leave. And the reason is because they were all talking over each other, and they were loud and obnoxious. Just evidently, I've never been to New York, but I guess it's a lot like that in certain parts. But they did such a good job that I just couldn't take it. I mean, I was that much into the movie, but maybe it's just because they were annoying me so much. And it's getting great reviews, and a lot of people like it. So I think that's proof positive, Rich, that they did a good job, because for a West Coast guy, I couldn't take it.
I'm with you, buddy. I can't be around this stuff. It's like these days, I don't care if it's a fantastic film. I mean, if it's annoying, I'm not watching a movie that's making me feel so annoyed. It's like, who needs it? Well, I know exactly what you mean.
For folks who live there, it would be fine.
Yeah, I will watch it at some point, but it's like, I gotta be ready for those kind of movies. It's, what I mean, where there's that kind of.
I just had to, and that's very rare. I mean, I've sat through some dogs, and it just, man.
Well, back in the early 90s, Vicki and I went on a double date with a friend of hers and her boyfriend. We went out to get something to eat and went to the movies. And I got to say, this movie was the biggest bucket of brown, smelly manure I ever saw in my life. It was called Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
Oh, yeah.
And I tried to watch it, and I fell asleep. And next thing I know, somebody is elbowing me. It's Vicki. I was snoring.
Wake up, Don!
And I swear to God, if there wouldn't have been another couple there, I would have got up and walked out. It was just, oh my God, I just couldn't believe it. Now, I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie.
I saw it later when it came to cable, it's like I had the same reaction, like,
I've not ever watched it. Just, I've never watched it.
Well, save yourself an hour and a half, pal.
Yes.
You'll never get back.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, you'll never get it back.
Don knows I'm a huge fan of Margot Robbie. It's as much for her looks as her acting, and they got this new film out called Bombshell, the story about what went on at Fox with Roger Ailes and such. And of course, she just lights up the lens of the camera like no other actress for me. And they actually did a pretty good job. It was interesting to see a guy play Geraldo Rivera. And,
that would be fun.
Yeah, and he's not on there for long. And some guys look like they had a guy playing. I'm sorry, it's not in my head right now. The guy that got fired. He had that really big show at 6 o'clock.
Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah. Well, they had a guy there who was made up just enough to look like him. And I got to tell you, if you're a Fox fan or not, I thought they did an okay job on it. And Charlize Theron looks amazing as Megyn Kelly. They did a little something to her to make her sort of approximate that look. Totally beautiful. And Margot Robbie, I mean, it's just amazing. But hey, when that comes out, even if you hate Fox, I think the movie's probably fair in their portrayal of what went down there.
Well, it looks like fun. Really, isn't it Russell Crowe playing Roger Ailes?
No, that was a different one.
Oh.
No, the guy who plays him in this is John Lithgow with a bunch of stuff.
Oh, John Lithgow.
So
okay,
he looks about 600 pounds.
I like him. He's a good actor.
Yeah, he does well in this. But yeah, it was one of the better films I saw. So hey, and again, I'm not invested in Fox or any of that stuff. So.
I'm not invested in anybody.
And then we saw Star Wars, and Dawn saw it, and I liked it okay. This new one, the last one of the 9, I guess, it was all right. I mean, hey,
what's it called?
The Rise of Skywalker. And there's the fanboys out there, like that guy that we had on, the nerd-rotic guy. You know, he makes a living by kind of badmouthing stuff like this. I don't know. I'm not involved in any of that. I just want to be entertained and make me laugh, and
we got a caller that is on hold. So let's see if our caller makes us laugh. What do you say, guys? We are being joined by Malcolm, who is down in Florida. Malcolm, welcome. How you doing this evening?
Oops.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Now I can. How you doing?
Yeah. I can barely hear you.
Weird.
I don't know what to tell you. Turn up the volume.
It's up all the way.
Okay, well, let's see if we can muddle through, Malcolm. What's on your mind, buddy?
Well, you have me at a disadvantage because I missed the opening of your show, and I'm not sure who your guest is tonight.
Well, it's our open line show.
Oh, well, very good. Then I'm in the right place. I hear a lot of people, especially on KGRA, asking the question, are we alone in the universe? And I'd like to answer, we're not alone on this planet. We have other creatures here that are capable of thinking and feeling in very much the same way we do, even though they make their living very differently than we do. I'm referring to the toothed whales, the dolphins. And I don't know how to make people aware of this, but the dolphins are telepathic, and they are interested in communicating with us, at least some of them. So I wish more people who claim to be animal communicators or claim to be telepathic would try focusing on the dolphins and other whales and see what they can tell us, because they've been here a lot longer than we have. They've survived catastrophes that have wiped out the megafauna on land, and I think they could tell us a thing or two about long-term survival on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And how would you guesstimate, Malcolm, that they store this knowledge?
Well, if they're anything like primitive human societies, they pass it on in a cultural mythos from, literally passed on from generation to generation. Since they've been here so long, I presume that their language has basically evolved to the point of emojis. And really, the main communication goes on by telepathy. They may even have something approaching a group mind.
Well, I would not scoff at that.
Dolphin
intelligence.
Two dolphin trainers have written very serious books about this. One of them was a guy named Frank Robson in New Zealand, who is deceased, and the other is a guy in the UK named David C. Holroyd. And both of them got fed up with the conditions of captivity, but wrote kind of expose books about it and about how they trained the dolphins telepathically. Holroyd even claims to have trained a blind dolphin to do a show telepathically.
I've got a screenplay in my drawer of something that I was working with the guy that was exactly on that topic. Exactly on that naval research and telepathy with dolphins and the development of messing around with their genetics even more. Sitting in a drawer. I was very familiar with the research being done by John Lilly back in the early 70s, and he was out here in California, in Southern California, on the coast, with dolphins. And It's quite interesting work he was doing. It's one of the things that got me into the sensory deprivation tanks. Was part of
he was the person to do it, if anybody.
Yeah. So I think one thing. Take B.F. Skinner's behaviorism. Behaviorism is based on a formula, right? Antecedent, behavior, consequence, and basically it means what happens before the behavior, right? What happens during the behavior, and what is the consequence for the behavior? Is it positive or negative? And across all species, that's how nature works. The carrot and the stick, so to speak. And that means everyone needs memory, so you remember the lesson. And if you have memory, you may also have, reflection. I mean, I look at the way my daughter's little dog behaves and how he learns so quickly, and how he persists until he gets what he wants and finds a way to find or do whatever he's trying to do. It's fascinating to me. I just think we have learned to recognize that we should be more looking at it and becoming familiar with that way of looking at animals. And like, I know we're dog people, Don and I and Vicky and Mark, my family. And it's like, they're beings and you care about them. And it's not that you just care about them, but, they care too. And they have individual personalities just like we do. Although they have species-wise characteristics, just like we do.
I think there's a difference between remembering a consequence and being able to reflect on it. Reflection, that is thinking about your own thoughts, is very proprietary. There's only a few animals that can do it, a few creatures, I should say. They're generally the ones that recognize themselves in a mirror. And they're dolphins, the great apes, elephants,
exactly the tree I was thinking of.
Parrots. Huh? Hello?
You there? Hello?
Malcolm, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. We've got a very bad connection, though, I must say.
Oh. Well, we're having trouble with Skype. I think that's a Skype problem.
No.
No?
It's not Skype. No,
I'm not
if we're having a problem, we were having a little bit of a problem last evening with the phone system, but
yeah, well,
I think you need to have your telephone system exorcised.
Well, I will say that I'm thinking that maybe one of the reasons why Star Trek IV with the whales was so interesting is because our innate feeling that some of the creatures in the sea have more to offer than something for the plate, if you get my drift.
Well, I'll tell you the experience I had as a young guy, about 9 years old. We were out in Mississippi on the Gulf Coast, and the water's very shallow. You have to walk out very far. So they build these long piers, and they have like one or two step-down points where you can go down and then into the water. And sometimes when the tide's out, you have to walk out a block to get it up to your waist, chest. So anyway, we were out there playing. The tide was actually coming in, so the water was rising. And I was out there and with my brothers and sisters, we were frolicking around, And And then the lifeguard up on top of the thing says, "Shark, shark, get out of the water, get out of the water," right? So everybody starts, wading their way towards the ladder that gets up on the platform and goes up to the pier. And they could see the shark from up there. People were pointing at it. And suddenly this pod of dolphins comes by and puts itself between us and the shark until we all get off out of the water. And I remember climbing up on the stairs. I was just 9 years old, and seeing it from a little bit above. And along with them came a whole school of flying fish, one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. They were aquamarine with gold wings, and they would skim out of the water, and glide over the water for 10 or 20 feet, and then back in, and skim back out. And it was like a whole school of them, along with the dolphins, between us and the shark, which I thought was really interesting.
Well, that's good. You had a layer of something for the shark to eat, and then a layer of protection. I
Something like
recorded a
that.
story
Yeah.
with a man who was actually rescued from a shark attack by a dolphin. But I don't want to get into that now. I've got a tape recording. Don, I just wanted to say one more thing before I go. Thank you for your service, because I was of draft age in 1969, and I pulled a very high number, and I didn't make the Oliver Stone mistake. And I think probably I was not really emotionally stable in those days, and some second lieutenant probably owes his life to the fact that I wasn't drafted.
Well, you never know.
You never
Well, I'm one of those second lieutenants back then.
Yeah. Good night.
Okay, Malcolm, have a good one, my friend, and have a great New Year. The phone lines are open, 855-472-5483 or 85 KGRA Live, and it's all courtesy of the Paranormal Radio app hotline. And, oh boy, I just looked at my clock. We're good. We're still good. We're still good. My super duper atomic clock that syncs itself to that site in Colorado three or four times a day.
So during the holidays, you guys probably caught wind of all the press, mostly on the internet, but all the press that has to do with the Tic Tac case and all that stuff. Because of the internet and social media, it's still, it's not going to go away. It doesn't look like it's going to go away. There's a lot of interest in the Tic Tac and the Nimitz and the rest of it.
Well,
yeah.
I think it's not going to go away. It's just going to build up. It's the new paradigm. They're really opening up that conversation to where it's being addressed on the news. And I like the fact that Tucker Carlson is kind of staying on this thing.
Yep.
I hope he really does pursue it a little more deeply. I think he would be a significant outlet to stimulate interest in,
Yep. Yeah, he's the only one with a major show who isn't afraid to bring it up and have folks appear on his show.
Yeah, and he should get his researchers looking at it and showing him things, and he should be looking at it a little deeper because he's opened the topic up and he's brought it up more than once. And I hope. Well,
speaking of weird things in the sky, yeah, I know you guys have been aware of those mystery drone aircraft above the skies of Colorado and Nebraska. What do you think that is?
I think it's something military.
Flying those things without the benefit of advising the FAA and aviation authorities?
I think that's the whole point. Maybe not. That'd be the first place I'd look, though, and because of its location. But
that's interesting.
It could be anything. It could be a private corporation. It could be, but I would definitely say look at the military and see what you can find by digging into that if you can at all.
I've been watching a lot of them as well. Not that one specifically, Don, but seems to me that they're putting, and they've been doing this for a decade now, but seems to me that a lot of these are people putting LED lights on drones and things.
Yeah.
Because a drone with modifications can really look strange at nighttime.
Oh, absolutely. You can make a UFO out of a drone with no trouble at all. And I'm sure we've seen that has been done. So much this is perception and psychological warfare, and like the ability to, and Vallée even said this years ago, that they have the ability to make holograms, which, look absolutely real, and simultaneously to project sound effects to support the hologram. But unless you go up and touch it and realize there's nothing there, it looks real to you. Now, if that is a tool that our government has developed in many of its projects, that's just another tool, another way to steer the conversation.
Yeah,
and the mythology, mythos. So I'm always looking for signs of that, how we're being socially engineered by this psychological warfare.
One of the stories that will put an imprint on what you just said, Rich, that has hung with me for years. You will recall, I'm sure, you both, Mark and Rich both, when Area 51 was the hot topic. And literally thousands and thousands of people would drive out there to the desert and just kind of hang out. As a matter of fact, Rich, you're one of your good buddies, Wolf McCarran, was one of those guys.
Oh yeah.
And the story
that
has never left me was some people were driving out there I guess in the evening, late afternoon, early evening, when real near the black mailbox, suddenly Wile E. Coyote popped up, was standing there. Just like in the cartoons, Wile E. Coyote. And I've got no doubt in my mind that it had to be a hologram of some type.
Now, if they can do that, think about that. The management of perception, we've talked about this for years. It's all perception management, on one side or another. That's all media is, and how we present ourselves as opposed to how things are, how we spin things, in this way or that, or how we shape the way people are going to receive the information, how we'll set them up, like a pitcher sets up a batter, couple of stories, and then you hit the laugh button, boom, there's the joke. It's like we are being constantly having to try to work our way through perception management that pervades our information to such a severe degree. It's you have to really really filter hard, because a logical conclusion to something is only as good as the truthfulness of the two basic premises. If A equals B and if B equals C, then A equals C. But if it's not true, whatever the fundamental statement is not true. You've
driven out there many times, Rich.
Yeah.
And Mark, you've been out there, right?
Oh yeah.
And what would your reactions be if you're driving down the road and suddenly a 6-foot-tall Wile E. Coyote pops up in the middle of the damn road or beside the road? I mean, now just think about that.
Now, here's the thing. There is a command center up on the mountain across the valley that's run by the Navy and the Air Force, and it overlooks, and it can pick out any car that makes a turn for that stretch of road down through Rachel, and they pick you up when you come into it, and they know who you are. If you got a rental car, they'll know who you are within 3 minutes. And they can see you, and they can track you, and they do. Just know whoever comes through the vehicle, has already been identified before they're 5 miles down the road.
Yeah. Well, hang on. We've got another call. We've got our buddy Mike.
Okay, good. Thank you. I'm sorry, I had heard you before, but I guess you couldn't hear me. I don't know. Then you cut off, and then you came back, and I had no idea what was wrong.
Well, you're here now, Mike. Where you at?
I'm west of Omaha, by about, I guess around 100 miles west of Omaha, pretty west.
Up in that area where
I'm
the
heading
phenomena
to
is
Salt Lake
happening.
City, but I had to stop with night. And I didn't have a chance. I didn't want to call before because I was running down the road, and it's hard to hear you guys sometimes with the truck noise. So I stopped here, and I'm stopped for the night, and I thought I'd give you guys a call. I just wanted to, well, first I want to say hello to you guys, and Happy New Year to you all.
Thank you.
Oh, back at you, Mike.
Happy New Year, bud.
Oh, thank you. Thanks a lot. Hey, I just wanted to share with you something. I remember you mentioned a couple of times about your broadcast that you did with Art Bell back some time ago. I actually found it on the internet and I listened to it, and it was that was pretty funny, as you had talked about when you were describing the stuff on the moon, and Art Bell was going like, I don't see that, I don't think I see what you're talking about there. And then he just clicked in and he says, oh, yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that I listened to that. I thought that was funny, like you said. And so.
Well, I gotta tell you, Mike, this is this has been almost 20 years ago. But that show, and I'll be just very honest, that pissed me off. And I'll tell you
really?
what, I had listened to Art Bell since, I was actually doing paranormal radio, UFO stuff, before Bell ever came on Coast to Coast. And I think I've maintained a fairly good reputation for my investigations, my articles, all that kind of stuff. And Bell knew I was a serious guy. And I thought back to all the frauds and buffoons he had brought on his show over all the years, and never once did I hear him do what he tried to do to me.
Yeah, that was kind of strange. I've heard snake oil salesmen on there before, and you're right about that. But you sounded good in that interview, by the way. Really, really, really good. So,
Thanks.
Really, I mean, seriously. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that I listened to that, and I thought that was pretty good. Mark was mentioning that he was at the theater. Do you remember years back when the dudes were walking around in like red suits back in the 60s with the flashlights? in the movies, they would walk around the flashlights, pointing at people just to see if they were making out.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what they were doing. This was back in the 60s.
That's a bygone era.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't know if you saw that before, but I remember that when I was a kid. When my dad would take me and my brother.
I do too, and I also remember that all the seats had an ashtray.
Yeah.
Yeah. People were smoking in there, I guess. I don't remember that, but I remember the guys with flashlights, and I was wondering, what are they doing? Yeah, what are they doing? So, but they kept walking around, like pointing lights around at people. So I didn't know. I think that's what they were watching for. That was pretty interesting.
No hanky-panky,
Weird.
And no professionals working the crowd,
Yep. And I thought I mentioned that there was one movie that I walked out on, but I went back inside the movie. I only walked out for a few minutes, and that was when that alien creature popped out of the dude's stomach.
Alien.
So I
the chest burst.
I seriously, yep. I got out of my seat. I got out of my seat and I went into the lobby, and I remember I went up to the popcorn dude, and I said, "Man, that's some pretty wild crap." And I waited for like a minute or two, and then I I went back inside. So that was kind of good.
And
Anyway.
just think, I had respect for you before you said that. Damn.
Man, I remember
really?
when I saw it in the theater in the Westwood when it came out. At that moment you're describing, my God, like the whole audience just gasped, and jerked. I mean, it was like a total surprise. That was one of those moments.
Oh shit! Yeah, I mean, I couldn't take it. I thought it was pretty rough. So
it was.
Like
I thought a great touch in that film was when they bring him in and he's on the table and it's on his face and the neck and the tail's around his neck and it slightly goes tight when they touch it. Oh my God, that was so creepy.
Yeah, I know. That was quite a movie, wasn't it?
That was quite a movie.
Yeah. So, yep.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I thought Sigourney Weaver looked great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Worked for me.
She was good.
Yeah.
She was good when she was jumping out in a spacesuit.
Well, she and Linda Hamilton kind of launched the female, hero genre.
Well, it's because we're all getting older. Guys, we got to move along. We're minutes past the break time. I don't want my producer to slap me around. So we're going to take that break. Mike, keep the shiny side up, my friend, and the greasy side down, and drive carefully.
Will do. Thanks a lot. You all take care. Thank you.
Okay.
Stay in touch.
You betcha. Bye-bye. All right. Well, we got to take that break. We're a little late, but we're going to do it now. And when we come back, we are open for more phone calls. 85 KGRA Live. We'll be back.
Nancy Vernon here with Ozark Mountain Publishing, coming to you from the Ozark Mountains of Northwest Arkansas. We are a publisher of New Age, metaphysical, spiritual, nonfiction books, as well as digital downloads, DVDs, and audiobooks. This is also the home of all of Dolores Cannon's titles. The company was founded in 1992 and has been bringing to you a varied selection of titles covering many different subjects. This year, we have added a new imprint to our company, Big Sandy Press. They will be publishing titles from the genres of historical fiction and nonfiction, paranormal fiction, and more. So be sure to visit our website, ozarkmt.com, and explore all the new and exciting authors and titles coming your way.
For more information about Ozark Mountain Publishing or their events, call 800-935-0045. That's 800-935-0045, or visit their website at ozarkmt.com. That's ozarkmt.com.
Ew, yuck. They're unhealthy and gross. Bugs, I hate bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. From contact, it kills bugs. Plus, Orange Guard kills hidden bugs and keeps new bugs away for weeks. I know. I use Orange Guard. Plus, all of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally regarded as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It promotes a healthier planet, and here's a bonus. Orange Guard cleans where it's sprayed. Plus, it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard.
You can get Orange Guard at Ace Hardware. And listen, folks, Orange Guard is tougher than bugs, and it's safe to use. Go to orangeguard.com. That's orangeguard.com.
Hey everybody, Rachel Ray here. Nothing brings a bigger smile to my face than cooking up a big meal for the whole family and lots of friends. But there's not enough room at my table for the 17 million kids in our country who struggle with hunger. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks collects surplus food to give hope to hungry kids. But they can't do it without your help. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
KGRA Radio is your interactive alternative talk media. Sponsored Sponsored by the Paranormal Radio app. The KGRA rolls out its new high-definition call-in phone lines. 855-472-5483. That's 85-KGRA-LIVE. The Paranormal Radio app hotline gives our listeners the ability to call in and interact with your favorite host. Post questions for the guest. And win KGRA swag like t-shirts, books, DVDs, conference tickets, and more. Your interactive alternative talk media. KGRAradio.com. Now you have the inside contact for alternative talk radio. The Planet. KGRAradio.com.
And we are back with the last segment of Dark Matters Radio tonight. And if you would like to join in the conversation, give us a call at 855-472-5483. And all of it is courtesy of Paranormal Radio app hotline. We were just talking briefly on the break, all of us, about some of the excellent science fiction. Rich asked me if I have been watching The Expanse. I have every episode, all 4 seasons, and you know, it just blows me away that those morons, those Walking Dead over at the Sci-Fi Channel canceled that show. Anybody got any remarks or comments?
Yeah, I mean, and then Rich brought up they may reboot or bring back Firefly. I guess they have a GoFundMe or something, because if the studios don't want to do it, they want to see if the fans can get up enough of the money themselves to do it. But that
I think that there's an opportunity there for all these new want to provide original content companies like Google and Amazon. All these companies want to start providing original content. So, they should be looking at these things that are fan driven like that, because they start with a leg up by having a built-in audience to play to, and The Expanse, I think, is a good example of that. I think it was the fact that it was really a good show, and the fans let them know they liked it, and didn't like it gone, and the producers were able to take it forward, and there's a lot of new media, man. There's just a lot of new media.
Well, I got to tell you,
it's a golden age of opportunity for everybody.
I've been thoroughly pissed off at Fox ever since they canceled the Sarah Connor Chronicles. They canceled that show on a cliffhanger. And I'll never forget those bean counting sons of bitches, boy. Never.
That's it behind the scenes. I mean, the producers were fighting hard to get a renewal.
Oh, I know they were. And it's kind of like when now a lot of people will say that the last Star Trek series, Enterprise, was not that good. I didn't see it that way. I liked Enterprise, and I know Mark liked Enterprise. Mark, that was another one they canceled. They chopped it off at the neck.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that it fired on all the cylinders as well as the Next Generation did, but they kind of had it in for that show, I thought, from the beginning. I don't think they really cared to do it at that point, because they had so many series before that, right?
Well, there was the original, of course, but that went off the air in 1969. Then there was the Next Generation in 1987. Excuse me. There was Deep Space Nine came on in, 93, 94. Voyager, and then, of course, Enterprise. But, apparently the story is still not done, because they're bringing back, although Picard. It's not on commercial TV, Picard.
Yeah.
So, what do you know about that, Mark?
Did you read the text that I sent you a few days ago on just that?
You know what? I did, and but the radio audience does not have access.
Oh no! I just
text.
wanted to make sure. It starts like next week, and he only went to one Star Trek convention. Not that it's for everybody, because T'Pol never went to one of them because she get trampled by, us. But it comes on like next week. He's only been at one conference, and that was to talk about this new show. He wasn't really a sci-fi guy, and he said the only way that he would come back, and this makes me sad, is that he would want to be able to reflect what's going on in society now. And he said the three most important things to me right now that it must reflect in some way is Brexit, because he's an anti-Brexit, the mean orange man Trump, and refugees. So you can put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Well, I wonder what Roddenberry would say if he were still around.
Yeah, I just
Roddenberry didn't believe in UFOs, as he made clear to Tracy Torme.
Yeah, you're right. He, as a matter of fact, not only did he not believe in them, but he got downright irritated at Torme for his interest in the subject.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of a strong reaction.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, I know, but there it is. So I'm saying Hollywood is a complicated place, man. Why?
Well, as Dwight Schultz once told me, and I said, my God, these people that do all these science fiction shows, and you're telling me that most of them tell you that they don't believe in the topic? Yeah, that's right. What the hell are they doing science fiction for? He said, look, if suddenly small brown paper bags filled with dog manure became the in hot thing, everybody'd be buying them. So,
Yeah, that's it, the marketplace. That's why we have advertising and television. That's why we have television, because advertisers pay. The famous commentator on, I forget, his head of a big ad agency on Madison Avenue, and he wrote a book called The White Book, and the CIA immediately bought every copy and took it off the market. You can search for it, The White Book, see if you can find it, written in the 60s. But anyway, it's the idea that how you get people to do what you want them to do, basically, and it's a formula. And he calls TV, the formula in TV is like, we provide the dreams, we provide the dreams.
I know how I do it. I pay them money.
Yeah, advertising works. Look how amazing a medium it is when advertisers choose to tell a story in 30 seconds, or 60 seconds, like the first cut of my bicycle racing commercial was a 1 minute cut, but they, after a while they did a 30-second version of it because people have seen enough of the whole version that now you did a 15-second version,
right
down the road. So it's the ability to tell a story with some feeling behind it is a great way to sell a product, as you can see by the kind of commercials you're seeing a lot of today. You tell a little story, and that takes a lot of skill, to be able to do that in such a small time. It's a great discipline, and that's why in film school your first films first of all have to be silent, so you have to tell the story visually.
Right.
Understand the camera and the effect of using the camera to tell your story, and the lighting, and then you can do it with a scene you choose to do, that you direct and shoot a scene, and you build up to it.
Hey, Rich, I got a question for you. Speaking of, when I was a kid, and occasionally they would have like history shows on where they would be talking about World War I, and they would show little short film clips from film taken during the First World War, and the people on the film would be jumping around and herky-jerky, and they would be doing all this weird stuff. Obviously, it was the way the film was shot, but today it's cool. I mean, if you come across some, whatever that process was, they fixed it. What the hell was that?
Well, hand crank.
Really?
Yeah. Turn the crank a little too fast. That's how you drove the camera. Was you crank the handle.
Oh, so you'd really have to be trained in that to know how to do it, huh?
Well, yeah, and getting that up close and personal stuff in a battlefield, with all the stuff happening around you, even from a slight distance, might tend to make your arm want to spin that hand a little faster than you normally would.
Oh yeah.
Your adrenaline, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But you'll see that in a lot of early movies, that the figures are moving a little too fast, because it was all done with hand crank. Even early Charlie Chaplin stuff, you'll see it.
Well, in the early '90s, when the Alien Autopsy film popped up, okay, and at UFOs Tonight, we were trying to get to the bottom of it as best we could. I mean, I talked to Santilli, I called him up and I spoke to him, and of course that SOB lied to me through his teeth, which, I mean, hey, let's face it, he's a goddamn liar. But we even ended up, I had some fans of the show whose fathers had been combat photographers in World War II. So, if you remember the story, supposedly it was a World War II combat photographer that shot the alien body, when they were doing the autopsy, the so-called autopsy.
And he was one that was not even in the service anymore, and they called him in special.
Yeah. It was a bunch of crap. But, those guys were gutsy. Man.
Oh, man,
those combat photographers were gutsy.
I'm telling you.
They go into these Japanese islands, everybody's carrying a rifle or a BAR or machine gun, and what do they got? They got a camera.
Yeah. And those were spring wound, you'd wind them up, and it was like winding up a clock, Most of those were spring wound. The batteries came later, and the batteries were so bulky. That's why they were spring wound, because you don't lug all that around on a battlefield, and how you recharge batteries. So they were all mechanically driven, by springs.
Yeah,
and they had the three different size lenses on the front that you could rotate, for medium, wide shot, or close up,
Right. It is amazing that Santilli and his group, this thing just hangs around. And when we had Spyros Malleras on last year, he's got this sort of a PowerPoint multimedia thing that he does, that he just started to do, and he tested it last year, and it went over so good that he's going to go on a tour with the thing, because he wants the world to know the work that he did. And I mean, it's 25 years, Rich. 25 years. It's crazy.
Yeah, amazing. I have a story to tell about a man who heads up the Aeroflex division, where we would rent our equipment, Aeroflex cameras and stuff, on some of our commercial jobs. You know, I was working as a first assistant. As you know, that's the first assistant's job, is to check out the equipment and deliver it to the set and be responsible for it and set it up and all that. The cameras, the batteries, the filters, everything required. You know, tripods, everything. And have a big old cart I used to load up and push around, 2-story cart, you know, made of extruded aluminum that folded up or expanded into a 4-wheel cart with 2 layers. And I did a lot of humping that thing around different sites all over, including Nevada. But I forgot where the exact point of my story was. Back me up a second here and tell me which way I was headed.
Yeah, you said you had a story involving this company, and it sounded like you were gearing in toward something somebody said or did or something.
Yeah, what was it? Oh man, I'm sorry. Got distracted by the football game.
Excuse me? You're what? You're watching a football game?
It's on mute. It's on mute.
You're fired.
You're watching a football game while you're doing this show.
I just turned it on to see what the score was.
I don't know. Mark, do you believe that?
It's the Ravens and the Titans halftime. Yeah, God, I'm so sorry, guys. I really lost the thread.
That's all right. We're gearing down toward the end of the show. We got about roughly 4 minutes left. Mark, so you have basically been batching it since your lovely wife headed off to the Philippines to visit friends and family. Now, my question is, are you being a good boy, or are you having crazy parties go on at the house?
No, I'm just hanging out with the dog. I go to the movies almost every day. I got that card for $20 a month. You can see as many movies as you want every day. I could see 100 movies a month if I want. So
how do you keep them straight in your head?
I don't. That's pretty clear. That's pretty clear when I say, now, what was the name of that act? Oh, Tom Cruise. Oh, yeah. I did want to tell you that the only way that Fox will pick up the Firefly thing again is if Josh Whedon comes back. If he comes back, directs and runs it, they said...
Well, that's what it would take to make it to have the feel that he created in the last one. Because you're gonna miss that cast. You're not gonna find another Summer Glau, you know. And part of what made that show so special is the characters were so well fleshed out and, good, and we got attached to them, you know. So when you try to replace a cast like that, you don't even have the original showrunner.
I think it's going to be the cast wants to do it now. If Josh didn't want to do it, I still think it could work if they got all the cast back.
Well, Nathan Fillion is still doing the Rookie or whatever that show is.
Yeah. They put up a video, him and the pilot, the guy who got killed in the movie. They put a thing up on Twitter. And they said, hey, we're going to start this thing up, and if we can raise the money, we're going to do something.
Outstanding. I love that. Yeah, who's the guy who played the pilot? He's just terrific. He looks like Gary Busey's kid. But he's not. He's another
one of
guy.
The guys who made the accusations against the actor guy who got fired for
against Kevin Spacey?
Yes.
No kidding.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yep. I guess he got a little handsy with him when he was a teenager.
Oh, boy.
Damn, that Kevin Spacey is quite a rascal, huh?
He really got around.
Hollywood, man.
It's sad. I've seen him in a few things that were just spectacular, but sad. Oh, well.
Well, we are down to 1 minute, guys. So let me just do this. Next Friday, of course, I will be hosting Richard C. Hoagland on the show. It's been quite a while. I'm going to hear what Dick has been up to. I spoke to him briefly the other day, and he had quite a bit that we were talking about. And then I was told that next Saturday on our open line show, Commander Cobra expressed an interest in coming on, and not quite sure what he is up to, but I guess we'll find out. And in the meantime, Richard, Mark, as always, guys, you did a great job. Bill Skywatcher, our producer, a fantastic guy that never has an oops. Except tonight he had one, but that's all right.
Who's counting?
Yes, who's counting? What the hell? Who's counting? But we will be back next week. In the meantime, keep your eyes pointed up, keep your ear to the ground, and we'll see you then. Have a good one. Good night.
And remember, Sam and Dean Winchester come back this Thursday. Thank God.